All right, let's do the pledge and get things rolling here. Marilou, if you need me to skip you, I can skip you too, okay? I'll just come back to you later.
No, it's okay.
Okay. All right, Rose, you lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, this week early meeting, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be brief, but we're gonna try to just get some house cleaning done. So next week, we're very packed. I'd rather be able to not have as much to do at that next meeting, the regularly scheduled meeting. We have no scheduled speakers. We do have a few sets of minutes we can approve and get that out of the way.
Yeah. What are they looking? Oh, that's warrants.
Oh, I'll just pass you mine as I go. We'll do the, what date is that?
That's the Saturday the 26th.
January 26 minutes?
That's January 19th.
Yeah, I'm back, I'm sorry.
Which one you go first?
January 26th, this a single page?
Yes. Move we accept
Okay.
January 26th is written.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, I'll go in order, I'm sorry. January 19th minutes. Oh, you know?
January, no, that one yet.
I'm
working on them. There they are. Move we accept January 19th as written. A second.
Okay, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
Last but not least, January 22nd minutes. Busy.
Move we accept January 22nd as written. Second.
All in favor? All right. Okay, minutes are out of the way. Any public comments? Well, you're going out first, Frank.
No.
All right, let's see.
So a couple of things. One, I passed along to you folks via email the information about doing traffic counts on Tucker and Moose Mountain by SRPC. Yesterday, maybe?
Okay. Maybe
And I didn't bring a copy of it with
No,
me.
that's fine. Maybe I swiped away. I'll dig and trash and
You
find
know,
it.
you get so many emails from me, you just...
No. Sometimes I'm just clearing them out, so thank you.
But it was a little pricey, I thought.
Okay.
But toward the end, and I didn't even open the document because she gave me a dollar number. They're willing to do it, but there's a cost. And the cost isn't that much less than being a member. And if we were a member, I guess we'd get that for nothing.
Right.
But I didn't even read my full email, so I'm sorry. I passed it
Okay.
along.
I will take a look at that. I'll find it. Take a look. Sorry.
The other thing is I wanted to just alert you to an issue that Governor Wentworth Regional School District had their deliberative session last Saturday. In addition to the two petition warrant articles having been amended and now essentially rendered meaningless for the voters, in their packets, they provided additional budget information, full budget information that previously had not been available, including the usual cost distribution calculations for the projected fiscal year that is the budget under consideration for 2020. When I got home, I looked at it and found that there were some pretty significant, there were some errors. There were numbers that they were using in the calculations that were inappropriate, including the revenue numbers, the state grant, the Keno grant, and the state tax numbers were incorrect. And I passed that information along to you as well as, of course, that was an email that went to the school district and the school board. And incredibly, I found yet another error on the spreadsheet at the very beginning. The number that they use, the only number on this spreadsheet that I see that has validity, frankly, is the gross budget amount. The very next number is less revenue to get to a calculation amount that then is distributed amongst the communities. Well, that revenue number it's the wrong number based on the information that they had in the rest of the budget packet. So that part I will alert them to when I get home. I'll send them an email. I did get an acknowledgement from them late this afternoon that they are working on making the corrections, and now they'll have one more correction to make. I don't know, this really disturbs me, that there's an awful lot of money on the table here, and I know that they have some new staff, but this is supposed to be a document that we can use, and as I made the argument on Saturday, the number, both the final number for each community in terms of what the actual outlay will be is important, as is the correct calculation or an approximate calculation, the best calculation possible of what the tax rate will be for the 6 communities that have to make their own budget decisions, as we will be doing for ourselves. So I just wanted you to be aware that there's yet another email to you.
It was a slightly original email, yet another pretty big error.
Yes, sorry.
No, thank you. Frank?
Yes, following on with what Diane just said, is that I pointed out in an email to all 3 selectmen that there appears to be a conflict next Tuesday in that the school board is scheduled a hearing here in Brookfield at the exact same time as you guys have scheduled the budget hearing to start. The hearing would be on one of the petition warrant articles on the school ballot, and I wanted my opportunity to go to that meeting and express to the school board my concern that they just appear to be tone deaf as taxpayers. All of the articles in the newspaper, the letters to the editor, everything else, it's, oh, the student, the student, the student. Nobody seems to be looking after the taxpayers, and especially the taxpayers in the smaller towns who are fronting, who are paying for all this. And I wanted my opportunity. I also wanted to be at the budget hearing because, you know, it's very important. I was going to ask you to postpone or to push up your budget hearing because I didn't expect them to change their time at all. Because I really have this opinion they're intractable at this point in time. But now that I know that after the deliberative session that the warrant article is basically rendered moot, I'll come to the budget hearing and I'll deal with the letter to the editor for the rest of them. But it's just, it really feels like a brick wall that we're hitting when it has to come to the school board. And they're really not listening to us. And that's really got to change at some point in time. It's not about education. It's not about quality of education. It's about the whole sum total, including the people that have to pay for it. So, also on the budget, I give you a heads up. I will probably come next week looking at ways to. It's 200,000 more than last year plus some, and I'm going to come with some suggestions to potentially pare that down so that we don't have quite as big. Even though our overall tax bill, it's not a big percentage. It's still, you got to start somewhere. So just heads up, I'm probably going to come with some things for next week. Because it's a lot easier to do it in the budget hearing. And anybody watching, come to the budget hearing, because it's a lot easier to do it than in town meeting. So I encourage people to come to the budget hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
If we want, we have to have our hearing at 6 o'clock. We could immediately recess for 15 minutes if we wanted to give people an opportunity to go next door.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that was the way because we can't change the hearing date because we already public noticed it. And I saw your email, but I knew it was by then it was, you know.
I understand that.
But I did figure we could do a 15, 20 minute recess so people could walk over or stay, or you can start there, and we will, 6:15, 6:20, we can start.
My intuition is there won't be many people, so
No.
15 minutes would be plenty.
I think so as well. So,
So that school committee's gonna start here at 6,
Next door.
next door.
yeah.
I actually thought there was gonna be a fair turnout when it was a 2% cap. People wanted to talk about it. But now that it's 25%, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of dialogue, other than maybe people speaking like you just spoke.
Okay.
So we'll let them in, we'll set it up.
Yeah,
Good, thank you.
no, thank you. Right.
I would encourage everybody to watch the deliberative session. And like I told the selectmen up in Ossipee and the audience there, one of the most concerning things is to listen to the laughter in the background after they made the tax cap 25% and eviscerated the other one about the elected budget committee. The fact that there's no concern that the property poor towns are having problems paying these bills. And that, you have to watch it to see the attitude. So, thank you.
Marilou?
I don't really have anything till we get the budget and the warrant articles.
We got bills and checks we'll pass around and get that out of the way.
Oh, you want?
Sure, not right now, but that's. but we'll
Yep,
do
I
that.
do have checks, a few checks and bills,
Okay.
yes.
Tax collector,
Okay. Good news, the one payment plan, the person with the payment plan will be paying off the 2012 taxes next month. This month, I'm sorry, February,
even better.
so.
What was the amount that was left of 12? I don't know if you had it.
With our agreement that we
Yeah.
have with the taxpayer, there's $27 left on that month. Now you're gonna have a big abatement coming.
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe I was
Because she's
missing
only-
this.
That was the first one, not the second one.
Oh,
first, yeah.
the first, okay, I thought it was the other one.
Yeah,
That
no,
was the first one.
yes.
I was excited from it.
No.
Okay, we're good.
As far as owed taxes at this point, as of today, there are $185,852.98 from the 2018 taxes. Oh, I had the wrong number. Okay. It's about 102,000 left out of the 900,000 that was, the warrant was original, I'm sorry. The original warrant was almost 2 million.
So the question is, because we'll get a lot of money in when you propose deeding, what's that date?
The deeding date is, I think it's April 15th,
I think,
right around there.
I think that's the right day. I think I
Yeah.
saw it somewhere.
And there are 3 properties that are right now back far enough to be deeded. Generally, they end up paying, but there are 3 properties.
Well, you can sum that, that's public information, you just.
Yep, the total owed on the 2016 lien, which is what would be going to deed, is $24,587.57. At 18% interest. So, here's a report if you would like it.
I'm all set, unless you guys want it.
Nope, we got
Okay.
the bottom line.
Thank you, Russ.
You're welcome.
Laurie, administrative assistant?
Not too much, just working on the annual report. I think at this point though, I'd like you guys to maybe get involved and work on getting information from the trustees of the trust funds.
Okay.
I still don't have anything and I can't get a response, so.
I'll do it.
We'll see, you seem to have a in with those guys, so.
I think that report was due to this.
I think they have the forms done. We're looking for the verbiage.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
And so
Yeah, but more concerning is we need to make sure our report to the states.
And I don't even have the forms.
okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you. I think that's all for me because the contracts that we talked about earlier are later on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, when Rick's got them, they're just getting signed up and circulated. Okay. Did planning board meet, or does that next week?
I would like to announce that this Thursday at 6:30 PM, February 7th, is the special Brookfield Planning Board meeting. It's going to focus primarily on the master plan. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Ed's not here. Too bad, need him. Conservation,
Tomorrow night?
oh,
Just in the same token, tomorrow night is a conservation meeting at 6 PM, and encourage everyone to attend.
and Heritage.
We're not this week. That's good. The Heritage Commission, the next meeting is February 20th at 6 PM here.
All right, cemetery trustees. No meetings? Okay. Supervisor of the checklist.
So at the last meeting, you read a notice that I had resigned from the supervisors of the checklist. Now I've left them in kind of a tough situation. I've been storing their material in that office since I have access to that office. Now they need a place to store a computer, a file box, like a milk crate.
Yeah, you've got a good amount of stuff there.
It's not a large amount. I mean, the volume is probably like this, but they do need a secure place to store that computer.
That was my first question, does it need to be secure? I figured it did.
How often is it used?
It's used mostly at elections and meetings.
So could it be locked in the selectman's office? Or would that be a difficult situation if you need to get it midweek or something?
They would need access first to the building and second to that office. Because they don't have the key any longer, because I'm the one that had the key to the building.
There's a set of keys on the code enforcement desk. You can store it in there, and give them that office key.
If there's a place that it could be stored in.
Yeah,
that
maybe
might be
under
a
the
good-
table and where the maps are or something. It's kind of out of the way. Want to just do that?
Yeah.
An office is an office, and just need somewhere to lock it.
And there's room for,
Yeah, that was an office. Was it?
there's room for a crate under there too, a crate of...
Let's take a look and see if that works. If not, maybe we'll try to make some room, or we'll go to Plan B.
Okay.
Yep, thank you, appreciate
Okay.
that.
Okey dokey. No other boards? Nothing good? Oh,
ZBA. I'd like to point out that the amended rules of procedure for the ZBA have been posted to the website. They've actually been up there for a couple of weeks. I believe the ZBA secretary is working with the admin,
Laurie.
to getting posting on the website in the news section. So once that is posted, then we'll start the 30-day clock. According to the RSA, you have to give the public notice 30 days that you have your amended rules of procedure available for them to peruse. So it's on our part of the website, but you'd have to go look there if you actually wanted to go find it. So once we get it on the front page, I just looked, I didn't see it. Then we'll start a 30-day clock, and then we'll have another hearing on the rules of procedure. And we're also going to start work on revising the forms, because the forms are also out of date. So ongoing work on the ZBA to get us up to be conforming with all of the current RSAs.
Great.
Okay.
All right. On to budget and warrants.
Why don't you make that like last?
Okay, that's not a bad idea.
It's easy.
All right, we have the building inspector has resigned. That's Ed Nathan. He's essentially cleaned out his office. So we need to figure out a plan. Inspections, code enforcement, and so on. There's names being thrown around, a couple from Ed. I also think, Rick, you said you had maybe somebody in mind?
Yes.
So it's gonna come down to, do we post this as a job and try to solicit applicants and then interview? Or do we want to consider just contracting this stuff out to Wakefield, or,
Are they,
which, you know,
are the,
Probably get a deal.
are they, are the folks local? Are they in town?
yes.
Yes,
They're Brookfield guys.
yes.
So I think we should meet with them. I mean, if we got three candidates, two candidates?
Hmm,
I think our bias would be to try to stay in town if we got a qualified candidate, right?
I agree.
Yeah, and our codes and everything are much different than Wakefield. I don't even know if I'd want to consider having them cover it.
I guess what I would suggest, we put something on our website, say we're looking for a code enforcement officer, see if anybody else says, hey, I'm interested, and then meet with the potential candidates and see what they're all about. But at least advertise it in town,
Sure.
all right?
And speaking with Ed, he said he would help in age transition, you know, as far as getting people up to speed, what needs to get done. He saw Jessica doing the secretarial work there, so she can keep that patch together and things getting filed and whatnot. And then we just try to find someone as quickly as we can.
Well, the next question is, I get a phone call home that someone wants an inspection.
And that's what I was just thinking. Now they're looking for a home permit?
No, if they want an inspection, I guess it was very clear. If he's building something on Governor's Road, looking for an inspection. I don't think it was. No, it was, his name was Mike, out of Rochester, not Mike Sausage, he's not.
Yes,
No. So we have to get an inspection for him.
Is this on a permit that's already pulled?
I guess, that's what it sounded like. I mean, it sounded like I need an inspection, whether it's electrical foundation or.
Okay.
In the interim, you might want to think about outsourcing to MRI. Municipal Resources Incorporated, I think it is, out of Meredith,
Yep.
to see if they have any qualified people that can step into this on a short-term basis just to fill the gap.
Yeah. I know Ken Paul out of Wakefield, he will do this privately. He will be contracted. So it might be something else we can consider. Yeah, we can do, you know, if we can contract it until we get the position filled and up and going, then.
Yeah, we can't, we gotta,
When we post on the website, how long do we want to wait before we interview people if we already have candidates?
I would say a week. Right, let's just, we gotta move with it. So we have to give, I think we have to give the public a shot at it. If someone else wants it, put your hand up, we're not gonna wait 30 days.
Right.
So, we can work on that tomorrow. And ask them to get to us by next Tuesday. And if things go well at our meeting and we're, we wrap that up early, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to send Ken Paul to Governor's Road? Per diem?
So I'm wondering, if he's hourly rate, you know, to stay, I don't know, what is it, $50 an hour? Hour minimum for any work he does?
I think when I nosed around to see what other towns were paying, the ones that were doing it on a fee basis, it was $50 an inspection.
That's what I thought.
You go out, we give you $50. It takes 10 minutes, it takes
I was
an
gonna
hour.
say, it can't be, it depends on what stage of the inspection you're in, it'll take longer. If it's foundation or whatever, it's gonna be quick, but if it's electrical and plumbing, then, you know, but, we could try that out.
Mike, I don't know the answer. Now he's representing the town. So how do we do this? He's gonna sign a building and an inspection permit for the town, right?
Yep.
So is he gonna be a temporary hire? Is he gonna be a contractor? What do we have to do?
I think technically he'd be an independent contractor.
I agree.
So you can get a 1099, you know, we would just pay him that
If it's
way.
over $600.
Yeah.
How about insurance?
Yeah, you should have some semblance.
They should have some.
You should.
He's a contractor.
If he's a contractor, he should have some semblance of.
So you may not do it at that point, right? At that point,
Yeah, I would think he's not gonna, you know,
yeah, at that point, I don't need the $50. If he's gotta get insurance.
but what kind of insurance is he gonna need? What's the liability? You know, I'm not gonna get a professional designation, policy, be general liability, but what's he gonna do, break stuff? So I don't think that's gonna be a real necessity, considering what he's doing.
Is he covered under ours?
No.
I don't think so, not as an independent
No,
contractor.
not as an independent contractor, he's not covered under ours.
The only way we do is if we form a contract with them, and in the contract we said that we will agree to defend indemnify him and look to add as additional name insured, and then get the insurance company to list him as a name insured, which is doable. But I just don't see the need for insurance. I don't think it's gonna be that critical, what he's doing. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, I don't see that, where's the liability gonna arise? Other than professionally, but the general liability policy is not gonna cover that.
Okay.
So, anybody know Ken Paul? No? All right, I'll see if I can get his number and give him a call.
He does that on the side?
That's what I was told.
Okay, and I can give you the contact information.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know if Ken's willing to do it. And again, we said $50 on the inspection. Okay. Maybe with contracts, just so we talk about what we've signed and
Yeah.
what that is. There's ongoing litigation regarding utility poles and taxation thereof. And we're part of a defense group, and they wanted to go ahead and retain George Sansucci as our expert. And we agreed that we're signing on as he'll be our expert, and we'll cost share on that. So far, we've all signed, and just need one more witness signature. Can I find that other contract? Yeah, I think I know what it is. Tax map maintenance contract, we contract through with CAI Tech, is that who it is?
I think so,
Yep.
Yeah, there is. So, we just renewed our contract with them to maintain our tax maps. And, again, we all signed, and we should be good. Client shall pay $800 for GIS maintenance, additional $15 building will be, and the client shall be paid an additional $15 building added change fee. There will be no additional charge if proper record cards are not provided, so it's pretty standard. It's the same looking contract as the years before, and this carries us into March 31st, 2020. That's what we meant by contracts.
I think they want to be paid once a year now.
Really?
Yeah.
We've already paid the first quarter,
Well, then they're gonna try to true up, I suspect I read in there they want.
like a paid in advance. I need a copy of that one if I could at some point.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other new business, guys? No?
Get them on public.
Yeah, that we can do later. You want to just do that at the end, or do you want to do that now? All right, let's do that now, let's get it out of the way. What do you think?
Okay, we'll find it.
Yes.
You want to take a look, this is the
Yes.
confidential settlement agreement.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we go to non-public under RSA 91A 3, number 2, negotiation or pending claims or litigation.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we roll call out.
Sure. Zachary, yes?
Brian Robisheau, yes.
Richard Surette, yes.
Okay.
I need to.
Welcome back, coming out of non-public.
Make a motion that we come out of non-public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Zachary, yes?
Robisheau, yes?
Surette, yes.
Motion, we seal those minutes for what, 1 year?
Yep. I will second the motion that we seal for 1 year. All in favor? Aye. Okay. So we're good there. We did it on public. We'll deal with bills and whatnot later. I'm not looking for a full massage of the budget unless someone wants to. I just want to see if there's any issues. There was a couple minor there was one minor change. And that was to the clerk's salary, right?
No, I did that.
But
Town clerk to,
Changed it,
yes, but that's what I'm saying. That was a change from our last meeting, right? Oh, you didn't write that in there?
what are we saying?
We increased the deputy town clerk salary.
I did increase her salary over what it was for this year because of the raise she was given.
Right.
So I was given, and it's reflected in at least the last 3 or 4 versions that you've had.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
When I did the salaries with the new salary ranges, so it was different from what Virginia gave me,
Right.
but it was increased so that,
You had already reflected it.
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
So I have one for you, and this is right here showing. At the bottom, at the end, page 11. So on line 4900 capital outlay, 4902 500, purchase of office equipment. Were we putting $4,000 in there for either a phone system or a copier?
We were going to withdraw the money from the
We were
expendable
gonna
trust.
withdraw the money
And I thought
But-
this warrant article to put 2 in.
to put 2 in, and that's under section 4916, office equipment. We're gonna transfer $2,000 in. But I don't know if we were definitely planning on spending the 4,000 one way or the other.
We're definitely planning on letting the copier ride its life out.
Right,
And then the idea of a phone system, which is
3,900,
what the call for,
basically 4.
is a more certain thing, I'd say.
So do you want $4,000 in that line, purchase of office equipment?
Didn't we
You
get?
can do it one way or the
Didn't
other.
we also have it in earlier in as an expense?
No.
Hold on.
Are you thinking that under executive general,
I thought it was someplace earlier, yes.
4130 would be the only other place, and there's only $1,000 in that line item? Where it's office and computer supplies and equipment,
Okay. Okay.
4130, 210.
It's not on 4194, is it now?
No,
I'm just trying to think where we'd have dumped it. So I guess we need to put 4 there if we're gonna be planning on spending
okay, so
that.
I took 4 out, but I
You-
figured I would ask.
You're taking 4 out, we're putting 2 in, right?
Okay. Maybe the computer should turn on. Come on, wake up. We have things to do.
So where are you, where are you going to expense it?
4902 500 on page 11.
Yeah, page 11, under capital outlay, purchase of office equipment.
Okay, can I ask a question? And I sent you an email to this effect, and it was long, I apologize. But this is an expendable trust.
Yes.
You don't need to have a warrant article. You can just expense it in the budget, show it as revenue coming out of the budget, coming out of the capital the trust,
Yeah,
in the
it's on
revenue
trust.
side.
Right. That's what we're doing, right?
I don't know that I have it in revenue yet.
But we're not drafting a whole new warrant for that.
No.
But you have, okay, so this one is not in, warrant article.
No, it's not.
Just the additional $2,000.
Just the additional
Go ahead.
replenish
Okay,
for,
Thank you.
yes. But no, your point was, I read your email and your point was well taken. That's what I thought we discussed on Saturday.
Then it needs to show as a transfer from capital reserve on the revenue side.
It will.
Yes.
Yes, I'll have
That's
to
the
add
missing
it.
piece.
Yeah, that's what we're
Yes.
gonna update.
Okay.
We weren't sure if we were about the phone thing and whatnot, but that's how it should all pan out at the end.
And so the outlay for that will be just the
Just
4,000?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So just to be clear, that's gonna be neutral on the bottom line of the budget?
It will be.
It will.
Okay, fine, good.
Get the revenue wash out, who's gonna take capital reserve there for us.
Yeah, got it.
So the other thing that I did do on this version was to separate out the income as far as what was capital reserve and what was from expendable trust according to the last spreadsheets that I had from the trustees of the trust fund where the funds actually sit, and I did the same for the expenses on the bottom. When Brian, you asked to create a new fund for the internet and whatever, you said to set it up as a capital reserve fund, and so I listed it there. I had listed it in previous versions under an expendable trust.
Okay,
So,
I see.
just to clarify,
Understand.
okay? And I'll add the 4,000.
Alright, so this is pretty close to the final version, I'd say. Except for the 4,000, that will be reflected as revenue and expense, but
Do we have to post that?
Yes.
We have to post that.
yes.
So here's my thing, I need to know, I'm down to, on DRA's portal, putting in the operating budget and submitting it to them for their review. So I'd like to be informed what your decision is with regard to the warrant article you got.
Because with the numbering, right?
So,
Yes.
that's the budget we're gonna post. Do we have to post it on the board or what? I don't know.
Yes,
We gotta go-
you have to post the signed warrant articles, and you have to post the approved form from DRA that I don't have yet.
Not for next week,
No,
No.
by the 25th,
before the town meeting.
before the town meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, the town meeting's the trigger. This right now is still the working, because we're gonna have the hearing. This can technically change, so.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so the warrant from Craig.
Sure.
Somebody have a hard copy of it?
Yes. Here,
Want to read that on?
oh, sure. To see if the town will vote to rename a trust fund created by warrant article number 21 as amended at the town meeting held on March 8, 2016. That article as amended reads as follows. To see if the town will vote pursuant to RSA 3119A4 to authorize the acceptance of private donations indefinitely for the new Brookfield Cemetery. Such donated funds are to be invested and accounted for by the trustees of the trust funds, who shall expend the donated funds according to the directions of the donors. For clarification purposes, this fund shall be known as Private Donations Cemetery Expendable Trust Fund. The purpose of this trust fund remains the same as voted in 2016.
I don't know what the warrant article is. it's like history there.
Yeah, so that's what she was reading it. Do you want to just grab the 2016 book? So we can read it?
Well, I think he
Quoted it.
he quoted
yeah,
it. He
it's-
quoted
it's
it.
quoted
Is
there.
that, I thought we're gonna put in the warrant? Or we, I mean, that's nice history. What are you gonna put in the warrant?
Do we need the, so what you're asking is, do we need a quote?
Yeah. I guess if it clarifies it, it keeps it simple and it's done, I guess we should put it in.
Yeah.
The bottom line is the
Okay.
one sentence on the bottom, change the name.
I think it's fine how it's drafted, it's clear. And like you said, the citations, it's helpful.
Okay, thank you. We're changing the name of the fund. The new fund, the name will be what?
Private Donations Cemetery Spindle Trust Fund. We could just reword the damn thing, so now I'm looking at it, to see if the town will rename the trust fund created by warrant article number 21. You know, we can leave that beginning part there, and the new name will be that.
Now, is it clear to you what that is?
What do you mean by that? Well, no, those,
Say they-
Not clear.
but no, the question was just kind of
They're
vague.
trying to manage the sales of
Yeah.
the cemetery plots and other donations. And that was being, that was being confusing with the names being so close. So now we're putting a new name on it. Does that name clarify which trust that is?
Private
This
donations.
name does,
So that
This new
is
name.
yes,
private donations, that's not the sale.
right.
Okay, if it's clear, we're good.
All right, so we'll strike the, we'll strike all this. And I think we need to keep that. Just, so we'll just leave it like that. more or
We
less.
just want to say we want to rename the
Your
fund.
name from to,
Yeah, basically that's what we want to do, from to clarify.
yes.
Rename the family trust fund. So do we need to, created by warrant article 21 as amended, do we need all that?
I think we have to say we have a trust fund named this today.
Yep.
Proposing we change the name for clarification, so it's clear how the money's to be used. Purpose of the trust doesn't change.
All right, the current name of this thing is what is it? Do we know the current name of this thing?
So we can look it up.
Hold on, here, I have the spreadsheets.
Oh, no, be careful. You think that's the legitimate number, right? They massage that. We know that, right? Over time, they morph. We should look it up. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll see it.
Okay.
Because we'll pull the book out.
Yeah, like-
We'll put in a book, we'll get the name that was voted in. And we'll,
Yeah, we can call this thing down a lot.
but we're gonna put it in? as
I think so,
number 18?
We'll do it as.
Okay, so then my request is that you make it number 17
17, move 17, the current 17 down to 18.
down to 18,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
which is fine. I don't need that one right away. You can do whatever. But if you renumber these things again, that's where I get
No, that's why I don't ever renumber them. I do it once and then I just let you deal with numbering. What was that? I don't move the numbers around, do I?
Yeah.
Well,
It's okay.
In the beginning I do because I'm moving
Yeah.
them around, but toward the end
Which I shouldn't put them in my
No, he's by the-
spreadsheet till,
But toward the tail end, I leave the
Yes.
numbering alone because I know
Yes.
it's time to use them.
thank you. So
So-
if we could do that, make it number 17,
Yeah.
and I don't need that one, and I could move on to 18, which is
Just the sum.
ducky, wicked fun, because it takes me a long time to do that one on
Okay.
my portal.
That's doable then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you wrapping up on the warrant articles? Because I.
Yeah, we are, but if you got
Okay,
something.
so I want to point out to you, and evidently I wasn't clear in my email, that number 15 and number 16 are warrant articles that you do not need to have there. And in fact, and I'll tell you why. You already have those numbers integrated into the budget. If you list them both you can show them as an appropriation in the budget, as an expense in the budget, and then create a warrant article that further lists it as an appropriation, we're getting hit twice for the same charge on the appropriations that get counted towards our tax rate. And furthermore, both of those funds, they're both expendable trust funds.
Yeah, we're
You don't
using
need
some-
either one of those warrant articles. You can shorten this by 2 warrant articles. Because they're already, you've included them in the budget, you've included the revenues, I believe, in the
Yes.
transfer from capital reserve, so you're all set. You don't need to have those 2 warrant articles with the current 15 and 16. You already have the authority to spend,
Yeah, we've got the authority to spend, and it's already line item here,
and
so
they're already in the line items.
does it make sense to strike those?
I understand what Diane's saying. I completely understand.
There's a but.
Well, it's gonna come up town meeting, we just have to talk to it. They're gonna say, aren't you doing aren't you doing, where is it?
It's just like the office copier thing that we just talked about first.
I understand.
It's expensed well, now it's expensed in the
You're not
budget,
spending.
and it shows the revenue coming out of the trust fund.
I understand completely. At town meeting, I am promising you that someone will say, you're taking money, and we're gonna have to explain it.
That's why but you have all the documentation that you need. It's an expendable trust with the Board of Selectmen authority to spend.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, you're right.
16,
15, 16 should go. And that shouldn't mess you up, Marilou, right? Because the numbering's not gonna,
it just
I'll
brings,
just delete them from the portal,
it just brings the
from
budget,
the state portal.
okay.
I think I can do that.
brings the budget down $80,000 as far as counting.
Mhm.
82,000.
If we were double counting.
Oh, yes, yes.
All right, so we'll strike those 2, which makes sense. Yes.
There's another question. The heat pump, that for 10,000, is that still in the budget?
Yes, it's actually under like government buildings. It's part of the number that's in there. It's under,
What page is that, Marilou?
it's coming to me.
4194, right?
Okay, page 7.
My pages are stuck. Yes. So the building maintenance includes the door to the shed, the wood things I
That's what it
never
was.
figured out on the
And
HVAC.
so that's just gonna be raised by taxation?
Yes.
Okay.
If people don't want it, we can strike it, but we're proposing, so.
Okay, so we don't have to do anything special with the warrants tonight, other than this is what we're gonna talk about.
We'll fix that one up and get it in as
New numbers.
new numbers. It'll be numbers, I guess 15 now, right? So that'll become number 15. Yes, Dan?
So, I brought this up before, well, actually, this part I haven't brought up before. In doing research, in reviewing the budget material, I came across, sorry, I was looking through old town reports and found that historically, but it ended in 2005, that the presentation of the information showed the amount to be raised by taxes at the very end. So I have oops, this is one's worse. So I have a copy of that to show you, as well as another way to present it. This is, I believe this is a sheet from the MS 737 from Wakefield just shows how they identify for the voters what the, and it's listed, operating budget appropriations, special warrant articles, individual, and then, so it comes to a bottom line, estimated amount to be raised by taxes. So it would be helpful, I think, for people to know, and this is a complaint that well, anyhow, I think that people want to know what the net impact is going to be, and rather than doing the math in their head, it'd be nice to just have that at the end of the document. And then the last thing that I'm going to say again is that there is an opportunity, and I'm giving you a copy of the RSA, to create a contingency fund separate from the budget. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but the way that it's determined what you can do is based on the prior year. And we could put away $8,000, remove $5,000 from the line item that's in the budget for contingency, and take it out of the budget and have it as a separate fund. And I have seen that in the MS 535, there's an opportunity to note different kinds of funds, and presumably that would be one of those different kind of funds. I don't know, I didn't get into the details of that. But here's the samples, and there's the RSA.
Thank you.
I mean, anything that we can keep out of the numbers that calculate our tax rate would be helpful. I know it's a little late in the game to change the number, but the presentation of the amount to be raised by taxes can be done, I would hope, pretty readily.
Yeah, the MS 737.
Is comparable to our MS 535.
So, because we have
We have a 535 that,
that does the similar breakdown, right?
yes, at the end, yes.
Okay.
And it's not done yet.
Well. All good things come to those who wait. All right, let's get bills and mail done and call it a night. I wanted an hour, but we're almost there. Regional impact notice of public hearing from Gilmanton Planning Board. They wanted to let us know that on February 14th, 7 p.m. At the 503 Province Road, Gilmanton office, upstairs meeting room. Their planning board is meeting to discuss an application, an applicant, industrial tower and wireless, okay, let me read it again. Planning board, case number WT 2019-601, applicant, industrial tower and wireless LLC has applied for a wireless communications facility, seeking approval for 140-foot monopole tower. So, Gilmanton's a little ways from us, but
Is there anything to tell us what's behind that? Should we give it to our planning board just for consideration, let them know what's happening in the world? I mean, first of all, you don't get Verizon.
they're giving us map numbers, property numbers, acreage, land representing.
It's not part of this wireless system they're putting in for first responders. It doesn't say that, does it?
Does not say it.
Is this a regional impact thing?
Yes.
That's odd.
Yeah. My past knowledge of the planning board is the RSA that deals with regional impacts, and Brookfield did that with the application for what was the Albee gravel pit. But we only did Wolfboro, Wakefield, Middleton, and Ossipee because of the traffic that the pit would generate. The regional impact laws, my memory serves me right, would be that would somehow, I understand if there's going to be a bunch of big towers, the towns around Gilmanton should be notified, but I don't know why they're sending it this side of the lake.
Big tower.
Ossipee was also notified.
Yeah, so I
It's 140
I
foot
think
tower.
it might just be a planning board overreaching a little bit.
Yeah,
Unless there's something else behind it, which would be interesting to find out.
Like a warning they're coming to your town soon.
Well, there are people that would be happy if wireless facilities came to Hardwick.
Right.
Bills. Okay, so the bills. We have a bill for the New Hampshire City and Town Clerks Association. It is $20 dues for each town or city. So it's $20 for the town, for the dues for 2019. Staples, we owe $61.17. Salmon Press, they have $146. Yeah, $146. Consolidated Communications for the internet is $42.16. And then for the phone line is $86.81. Urban Tree Service is $3,550. And then there was a bill from Morton Salt for December. Yes, sir?
Just out of curiosity, what did we hire the tree service to do something on the roads or
over on
something?
Bryce Drive, we had to get
Oh,
trees removed around
got
the
that,
utility
good.
pole.
Okay, thank you.
There was a Morton Salt invoice I never received, so I asked Eddie if it was legitimate, and it is. It's 1,000, oh, there's another one to pay you. We can do it next week. 1,864.50. Carroll County Registry, $18.50. Governor Wentworth School District, $149,522. And then, postage for the town clerk, $39.79. I thought she didn't have this. That's October, November, and December. That's all.
Yeah, so that's all the bills read on the record. I make a motion to accept the bills read on the record by Marilou.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Have we heard from the county what the estimated cost will be?
I don't think so.